Good day to everyone. I am Alexandria Cisa Marita, and now we are going to discuss about management of instructions. So before anything else, let's have a short prayer. Let's bow our head and feel the presence of Jesus Christ. Panginoong makapangyarihan sa lahat, pinupuri ka po namin at pinasasalamatan sa araw po na ito na inyong pinagkaloob sa amin. Sa mga oras po na ito, hinihiling ko po na kayo po ay gabayan kami sa aming pag-discuss. Tulungan niyo po kami na maibahagi po namin ito sa aming mga kaklase. At bigyan niyo din po kami ng sapat na kaalaman. Sa mga oras po na ito, dinadalangin ko po na patawarin niyo po kami sa aming mga kasalanan na nagagawa. Ito lamang po ang aming dalangin sa pangalan ni Jesucristo. Amen. So, and now, let's meet the team. We have Margie Relante, Bea Reyes, Denia Ricamonte, and Rena Salvo. So, here we prepare short questions and you need to answer these questions. You can submit it through Messenger. So the question is, as a future educator, what do you think is the importance of classroom management? Again, as a future educator, what do you think is the importance of classroom management? And now let's have a short recap about the topic class meeting. So what are the topic class meeting? It is the topic class meeting. It's all about learning activities, instruction material, and evaluation instrument. Here we learn how to determine the suitability of learning activity. We also learned how to prepare appropriate learning activities for a topic or a lessons. And lastly, we also learned how to select the correct instructional materials and necessary for the learning activities. So that is the thing that we learn about learning activities, instruction material, and evaluation instrument. And now I will give the opportunity to Miss Daniel to discuss about the introductions in management of instructions.
Our topic is management instruction. What is management instruction? Monitoring student progress and making judgments about the pace of learning, how to group students, how to structure lessons, how to personalize instruction are all parts of instructional management. This is by Geddes and Cui. Instructional management was defined by Tosti and Harmon in 1972 as the actions taken to decide whether to start a certain activity for a particular learner. According to Reisman in 1968, classroom management includes everything a teacher does to arrange students, space, time, and materials so that topic instruction and student learning can occur. Instructional management is an activity to plan teaching and learning programs, implement teaching and learning process, and assess the process and learning outcomes and the development of classroom management. There are teacher behavior that prompts and solicits a student response, such as reading aloud, writing answers to a problem, verbally answering a question, responding to a teacher's cue. So now, what is the importance of management instruction? The importance of instructional management helps the teachers to observe the development process of their students. How one manages the classroom is the primary determinant of how well your students learn. Conversely, when students are successful and actively engaged in their work, they tend to be well behaved. Do you have any answers? If you have answered, you can comment it at the comment section or just PM me.
Now that we are done to discuss the introduction in management of instruction, let us proceed to classroom management. What is classroom management? It refers to a wide variety of skills and techniques that the teachers use to keep their students organized, orderly, focused, attentive, and academically productive. Classroom management was used to ensure that the lessons will run smoothly and the teachers will build a strong relationship with a student. So as a future educator and teacher, we are the one who manage the classroom. We need to know everything that happens inside and outside the classroom. If the students are really excel when it comes to recitation, performance tasks, quizzes, and extracurriculum tasks, and even if there are students who have bad behaviors. And why the classroom management is important? Satisfaction and enjoyment in teaching depends on how the teacher teach and how the students cooperate. Next is classroom management's effective instructions are the key in ensuring student success and learning. As a future educator, we all know that hindi gaanong kataas ang sweldo ng isang teacher. That's why we sacrifice our personal time for us to teach. But the satisfaction and enjoyment in teaching is the reason why we should keep going and pursuing it. Especially when we see the students really learning and cooperate and interact with their classmates and the teachers. And also, if the teachers also interact with the students will think that they can ask their teacher if they can teach them the lessons that difficulty for them to understand without a fear. And satisfaction and enjoyment to teach is really good to our feelings, and if the classroom management is really successful. Now that we are done to know the definition of classroom management, let us proceed to 4 types of classroom management style. First is authoritarian classroom management style. The teacher has totally authority over the class. The students are not participating or response in the class. In this style where the teacher has complete control over the classroom and the students are not actively involved or allowed to respond. And if the students is not following the set of rules, it can be punished. Second is authoritative classroom management style. This approach aims to balance the students' participation with teachers' control. In here, the teachers who have a control to the discussions allow the students to involve by answering a question, give their opinions and insights, and allow them to participate in the class and collaborate with their classmates while following the set of rules. Third is impermissive classroom management style. The students are necessarily given free to do the things that they want as they wish. In here, impermissive classroom style is type of student-centered teaching. They are focused on letting the students to learn and do the things that they want. The students choose what and how to learn and support by their learning by their teacher. The teachers do not impose a rules for students. Fourth is indulgent classroom management style. Students have their freedom to express themselves freely in the classroom and collaborate with the people around them. Class is taken over by the students and the lessons intended to get off task. Teachers use this style to make the students feel to be comfortable talking with their teachers and may consider them as their friends. this type of classroom management don't have a rules at all. We're done to 4 different classroom management style. Let us proceed to 4 components of classroom management. First is classroom design. It is the setup and arrangement of classroom furniture, accessories, and learning aids through full think students' desk, learning station, and device placement. In classroom design, it's used to make the students more comfortable to their environment and make them relax while learning. Next is instructional techniques. It is one of the techniques that teachers use to help their students become independent, strategic learners. In instructional techniques that they use to teach and give their students learning that they need. Third is classroom rules. Classroom rules are the set of rules and regulations that are implemented by the teachers that the class must follow. Teachers use a classroom rules to avoid misunderstanding of all the students and it's to have peaceful classroom and to teach the students a proper and safe way to act within the classroom. Last but not the least is the organization. The classroom organizations affect the physical elements of classroom, make it more productive environment for learners. Organizations used to organize the classroom and make it bright to the eyes of a student.
Before we continue our discussion, I would like to introduce myself. I am Bea Bianca Reyes from BSE 301B English. So let us now proceed to time management. What is time management? So time management refers to the planning and controlling the amount of time spent on a particular task. So the goal of time management is to accomplish multiple tasks in a given time while still maintaining the productivity and quality of the outcomes. However, many people find it difficult to master since they are more attuned to doing a single task on a single time frame before moving on to a different one. So here are the important skills that students need in order to manage their time effectively. So first, we have goal setting, an act of setting a target or objective that you want to achieve. So students can use their time effectively by setting short and long-term goals. So think of it as having a reward which will motivate you to work more efficiently. Second, we have prioritization, prioritizing or determining what must be accomplished in a specific amount of time. Students can achieve their target or objective by setting goals or setting priorities for each day, week, and month. So prioritizing your tasks based on what is more important is a huge help because you will easily determine which task needs to be done first and which ones can be done later. In turn, your time will be used in finishing the most important ones and no time will get to waste. Third, we have organization. So once their priorities are set, it is important to have a plan for getting them done by using different software programs and apps to help the students with organization. So having a flow chart or an organized plan will immensely help in managing your time. Take your class schedules for example. It tells you which class and activities must be attended and how much time it requires. And lastly, managing stress. This refers to the capability of being calm and collected and working under pressure. Working on more than one task at a time can easily be overwhelming, so it is important to learn how to manage stress and pressure. So stress can directly affect the students' abilities in performing at their best. So it is difficult for them to retain or gain information while they are in the peak of under excessive stress. Students require effective strategies for handling the demands of their studies while yet being productive. Now, let's talk about why is time management skills important. Having an effective time management allows the students to complete more in less time because their attention is focused and they are not wasting time on distraction such as social media. Efficient use of time also reduces stress as students tick off items from their to-do list. It can also provide a sense of achievement from fulfilling goals. So being good at managing your time also means you will be less stressed because you will find a means to only accept responsibilities that you can actually accomplish. So what are the types of school day time? First, we have allocated time, the total time for teacher instruction and student learning. Allocated time is the total time allotted for teaching, learning, and routine classroom procedures like attendance and announcements. Allocated time is also what appears on a student's schedule. For example, mathematics 8 to 9 a.m. or English 1 to 2 p.m. Second, we have instructional time, the time teachers are actively teaching. So, instructional time is what remains after routine classroom procedures are completed. That is to say, instructional time is the time wherein teaching and learning actually takes place. So, teachers may spend 2 or 3 minutes taking attendance, for example, before their instruction begins. So, the time it takes for the teacher to do routine tasks can severely limit classroom instruction. So, teachers must get a handle on classroom management to be effective. So third, we have engaged time, the time students are involved in a task. So engaged time is also called time on task. During engaged time, students are participating actively in learning activities, asking and responding to questions, completing worksheets and exercise, preparing skits and presentation, etc. Fourth, academic learning time, the time teachers can prove that students learned the content or mastered the skill. So academic learning time occurs when students participate actively and are successful in learning activities. So effective classroom management maximizes academic learning time.
Alright, so what is management of instructions? Why is management of instruction is important, especially to the teacher? Instruction management assists teachers in optimizing their student development process. For example, in teaching program and develop the classroom management. So what are the management of instruction? So this is the how the teacher guide or the student or how he procedure in the topic. For example, is si student are having a difficulty in learning, so the teacher is need to assign the special homework or tutoring for the student. So that is why management of instruction is important, especially to the teachers. Alright, so let's proceed to the next slide. So what is management of instruction? Management of instruction refer to the event and procedure involved in the decision to begin a specific activity for a specific student. So there are several forms of instruction management. The first one is aspiration management, prescriptive management, achievement management, motivation management, enrichment management, and maintenance management, and lastly, support management. So these are the several forms of instruction management. So the first types of instruction management is aspiration management. So what is aspiration management? So when we say aspiration management, it is to select those objectives that will best meet a given student's aspirations, aptitude, or interest. So in aspiration management, there is a set of objectives that allow the student to achieve their desired goal. So for example, student ka, and then so sa pamagitan nito, na-allow si student na tiyagas pa lang natuturuan na sila kung ano ba yung course na gusto nila pag sila ay nag-college na. So that's why we have a K-12. So that is the reason why we have a K-12. And what are the student activities in aspiration management? So the students, so the instructor and student determine which objectives, units, or courses are appropriate to the student general goals or needs. So this is the instructional management decision. So what is the student activities for that aspiration management? So for example, si student takes the appropriate pre-test or diagnostic quizzes. So that is aspiration management. Again, it is to select those objectives that will best meet a given student aspiration, aptitude, or interest. The second one is prescriptive management. So when we say prescriptive management, it is to ensure that a given student receive the materials appropriate to his individual characteristic to most efficiently meet his objective. So in this prescriptive management, it is to meet the objective or the goal of the student that you need to consider the learning ability of your student, if they are a fast learner and slow learner. So in prescriptive management, you need to identify or consider the learning ability or the level of your student. You need to know if the student is fast learners, and you need to know if the student is slow learners. Hindi pwede na nakastick ka lang sa isa. Kailangan alamin mo lahat kung anong level or ability ng student mo. So that is what is prescriptive management. So the instruction management decision is the instructor and student determine where he should begin to study, what unit he should study, and perhaps what media should be employed. So what is the student activity for the prescriptive management? So si student work through selected instructional material. So pwede na turuan si student ng mga iba't ibang klase ng materials or instructional material para makuha yung attention ng student. So that will need to in prescriptive management. And the next one we have achievement management. So what is achievement management? To ensure that the student has mastered the objective specified. So in achievement management, this is the way for the teacher to know if that student are mastered the objective or the goals for the lessons. So the teacher going to ask the student if they have any question or clarification. So the question is clarify for the student. So as you can remember, sa mga teacher, diba, before they will go to the next discussion, they ask the student, do you have any question, clarifications? Di ba nagtatanong sila? Kasi bakit ba nagtatanong si teacher about doon? Kasi nga, sa pamagitan ng malalaman ni teacher kung si student ba ay nakukonfuse, nalilito, or may hindi natutunan, or baka na may hindi sila maintindihan sa klase or sa discussion. Kaya si teacher kailangan nang magtanong kay student para malaman kung may natututunan ba si student. And in instruction management decision, so student take a post test to determine if he has mastered the instruction unit. So what is the student activity in achievement management? So if the student has failed to master the unit, he goes to remedial materials. Otherwise, he proceeds to the next appropriate unit. So he may interface the motivational or enrichment activities first. So if si student ay hindi nakapasa sa mga pa-quiz ni teacher, so dapat si teacher maggawa ng mga parang mga achievement test, yung mga kalimutan ko yung tawag. Basta yun, yung parang madagdagan yung score ni student para may balik or matutunan niya ulit yung mga discussions. Nakalimutan ko yung tawag, sorry. And the part 1 is motivation management. So what is motivation management? It is to ensure continual student interactions with the educational environment in order to increase individual learning rates and performance level. So in motivation management, no matter how good the learning system is, if we can keep the student in the learning environment and corresponding at a satisfactory pace, the system will fail. So one solution is to build motivational activities into instructional system that ensure that the students' learning activities lead to some positive consequence. As you can remember, if we are in the discussions, we have a motivation activities. Kasi kailangan sa isang lessons or sa isang discussions, kailangan ng motivation kasi ito yung magiging paraan para makuha or yung makot natin yung attention ni student na makinig sa atin. That's why we have motivation in our discussion. So that is the reasons. And here we have so what is the instruction management decision? So instructor and the student negotiate what amount of reinforcement the student should get for what amount of achievement in the instruction materials. So for example, if you do your assignment and get 100% on the progress, check the test, you may go out and play. So for example, in si teacher, sinabi niya, if you are going, pag nakapasa kayo sa instruction sa ating activity, sa ating quiz, ay magiging exempted na kayo sa exam. So that is what we call motivation management. So hindi dapat tayo kailangan natin mabigyan ng tinatawag na positive reinforcement si student para magkaroon siya ng mind na okay, kailangan ko tong matapos, kailangan ko tong ma-100 or kailangan ko tong ma-perfect para ma-exempted ako sa final exam. Okay, so that is motivation management. And then the instruction management decision. And the next one, we have enrichment management. Enrichment management, it is to provide for access to additional information. So when we say enrichment management, it is help the student to motivate to study and provide more generalizations, knowledge for the objective. So ito ay it help the student to motivate to study. And what is the instructional management decisions? The instructor and student determine when the extra material should be added to the student's program of study. So for example, si student, it works through selected enrichment materials. For example, projects. So kailangan din ni student gumawa ng mga project para mas magkaroon siya ng additional information about sa kanilang topic. So that is enrichment. And the next one, we have maintenance management. So what is maintenance management? To ensure student ability to perform on the objective is maintained at a specified criterion level. So, si maintenance management, it is often implies that comes counseling decision-making function to provide for the student who is preparing to leave the instructional system. So, the student should be advised as to future courses he should take to maintain his present skill level. Or it may be that he should learn particular exercise to be performed at a certain frequency if his skills are to remain sharp. So that is, so what is the instruction management decision? So when the student has completed an instructional activity, he and the instructor considered what he can do in the future to maintain his newly acquired skill. For example, si student leaves the system and later perhaps student takes part in activities to boost or maintain his newly acquired skills. So, for example, si student ay magaling siya sa math. Magaling siya sa mga math. Ganon. So, dapat yung mga pag-aralan niya, halimbawa, so si student magaling siya sa paggawa ng mga pakabuo ng Rubik's Cubes, magaling siya sa mga math na activity. So, dapat doon, yung mas magmi-maintain dapat doon yung mga activities na gagawin niya. Dapat yung mga gagawin niyang activities ay it's all about math para ma-maintain yung kanyang mga activity at yung kanyang kagalingan doon at makapag-discover pa siya ng para mas maka-acquire siya ng new skills. So, that is the maintenance management. And next, let's proceed to support management, and also, rather, this is the last one. Sorry. So, support management. So what is support management? To assure that such data be collected as necessary to keep the instruction system operating effectively and to provide individuals outside the system with information so they are required to evaluate and revise the existing instructional system. So, support management, it's all about the student time, the number of instructors, or the age required to keep the system running, mean final score. So, that is the support management. So, what is the activity for the... So, what is the instruction management for decision? So, instructor determine which data to gather to make decision about the system efficiently and effectiveness. So, what is the student activity? So, the instructor gathers files and data in the form of tests, times, and unit taken. So, that is the instruction management. So that will be the end of my discussions, and I will pass the presentation to Ms. Rena Salvo to discuss about management of physical environment.
And for the management of physical environment, we have here the meaning or the definition of physical environment. It is the term physical environment refers to the overall design and layout of a given classroom and its learning centers. Teachers should design the environment by organizing its spaces, furnishings, and materials to maximize the learning opportunities and the engagement of every child. To effectively do so, teachers can apply a concept known as Universal Design for Learning, or the UDL, which stresses that the environment and its materials in it should be accessible to everyone. Creating this accessibility might involve providing books at different reading levels, placing materials within easy to reach on a shelf, or creating ample space so that a child who uses a wheelchair can maneuver around
the classroom. So when they set out to design an effective physical environment, teachers should consider all of that environment's various aspects. So in our next slide, we can see here the different aspects that needs to be considered in managing physical environment. The first one is the arrangement of furnishings and floor coverings. A well-designed physical environment has different activity areas with clear physical and visual boundaries defined by the furnishings and floor coverings. These furnishings and floor coverings should create spaces that are comfortable and that lend themselves to their intended purpose. So, for example, a black area might be bookshelves to set it off as a block center, and carpeting or foam flooring to muffle the sound when blocks fall off the floor. The second aspect is the design and display of visual materials. Another important aspect of the physical environment is the design and display of visual materials. Visual materials such as posters for displaying classroom rules, daily schedules, and steps to complete a routine. Example is the hand washing. It helps students to know what to do and to better understand their environments. Another example of this is in the block area, the teacher can label the center and use visuals of the different blocks to indicate where they belong on the shelves. The third aspect here is the lighting and sound. When they design the physical environment, teachers should also consider its lighting and sound. Teachers can use lighting and sound to create a comfortable environment that is conducive to the different activities that occur throughout the day. For example, here is that teacher can engage in both quiet and more active play activities during center time. The block area can be carpeted to reduce noise. For the last aspect, here is the sitting arrangement. Teachers usually adjust the layout and sitting style in the classroom before the school year begins, according to the school policy and the classroom space. However, throughout the school year, teachers have to adjust it according to the lesson or the activity they will give to the students, and also according to the behavior of the students and their age. Arranging the sitting position of the students is really important to help students more focus on their learnings and not just play around the classroom.
Alright, now that we are done to our discussion, kindly get one first sheet of paper so that we can start our activity. Directions: fix the jumbled letters to create a new words and know the complete answer. Number 1, it is the total time of teachers and students. Again, it is the total time of teachers and a students. Write your correct answer. Alright. Number 2, an act of setting objective that want to achieve. Again, an act of setting objective that want to achieve. Number 3, the management of motivation. Again, the management of motivation. Number 4, to provide for access to additional information. Again, to provide for access to additional information. Number 5, last but not the least, is the time where the students are involved in a task. Again, the time where the students are involved in a task.
That will be all. I hope you learned something from us. If you have any questions, feel free to message us on Messenger. Thank you and have a great day.